What's good, YouTube? Cardfight King here, Aqua Life, baby. You already know how it is. So today I want to just make my ARG states recap after it's been. I know it's been a good. It's been a good minute since I've done it. Reason is because I'm a full-time student at University of Maryland. I'm behind in like 2 classes. I didn't have like the book on the bookstore. Said they had the book, they would order it. This is a whole big issue with the books. A good thing girls in your class actually have the book, blah blah blah. But it's another story for another day. Now, I was gonna do a deck profile with the tournament report, but it doesn't really make any sense to keep showing you the same deck over and over again. There was really no change from the last time you saw, other than me cutting Ascuros down to 3 and putting in an extra copy of Melania. That's literally it, because I played Thavis, so that's pretty much it. So there was really no disparity in there, just change of that number. I'm going to talk about now since then I have changed the deck up a great deal. I did something I didn't think I would do, and I will show you guys that deck profile probably tomorrow, because I'm going to my main locals, HQ Games, to do some play testing for the Dynasty Cup on Saturday. So at Island Games. So yeah. Now there were some things I'm going to talk about with the Thavis deck, how I had it that I really hated about it and I liked about it at the same time, but I'll discuss that at the end of the video. So like I said, this is going to be my tournament report. I got top 4 at the Maryland States. Got my invite to Orlando. Not sure if I'm going to go yet. It's going to be like the end of finals week, it's whatever there. Oh, great, just flew down. And I also have that, really, actually, it's a pretty nice Chrono Fang mat. Y'all can see it. Pretty nice top 8 ARG Chrono Fang mat. I wanted that championship mat, but I lost to Diablo, but we'll talk about it right now. So what happened was, so round 1, let me fix that real quick, there we go. So, round 1, played against Nubatamas. I won that matchup 2-0. Again, I played Thavis, guys. If you guys don't remember, I did play my Thavis deck as usual. And won that matchup 2-0. Pretty much, in that matchup, guys, you just got to know what to guard. Pretty much what to guard, what to drop from your hand, what to bind, what not to bind, because obviously the whole after image abilities and things like that, because nothing comes back to your hand, they can't use after image and get certain cards off the board to build up the defense again in such a way. To me it's a very annoying deck, but they didn't really have much push factor in it. So a lot of times you can just guard early, then eat certain things, and then really push with Lambros and whatnot. So I was able to do that effectively and win 2-0 both games. Just executed pretty much the same strategy in both. Then round 2 I played against Gear Chronicles. The player did not own a copy of Next Stage, so it was a bit different. I think it was a bit more of a control build, so to speak, Martian Colossus and things of that nature. The time leap is still just god-awfully annoying with TikTok and Chrono Drain. I mean, it's still something that's very annoying. With even without Next Stage, I still think you need 4 Next Stage. That's a given any day. You have to have 4 Next Stage in your competitive, but another story for another day. But I won that matchup 2-0. Again, I feel as if, competitively speaking, not dissing anybody or whatever, but you need Next Stage, damn it. You need Next Stage, okay? I do have an obsession with him outside of Aqua Force. He's like my obsession with Stride. I love that Stride card. You need Next Stage. His ability to finish off opponents when they're at 4 or 5 damage, even 3 sometimes, is just too good. Like I said, yeah, I had to turn the fan off. It's just too good. Next Stage wins games, plain and simple. Don't give me any bullshit about needing, only running 2 and whatnot. 4 Next Stage will, it does you good. If you play against good players who know how to guard, who can, who play, other competitive decks and things of that nature, they, generally, depending on how you play and how they play, whatever, can survive your first next stage. Can survive your first next stage at 3 damage, even 4 damage, maybe 5 damage, depending on what they have. Playing with my my newly built Harmony deck, which I do have the deck profile. I was able to survive 2 next stages at 5 damage. Based upon the abilities that I have to draw, build hand, and being able to guard smartly and things of that nature. You definitely need 4 next stages. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I'm speaking of in the argument of 4 versus 2 next stages and that. But he's getting reprinted, so people can stop complaining about that. Now back to the matchup. With his lack of next stage, I feel really hurt him in the end because there were games, I didn't even ride Thavis, in majority, both of those games I rode Skiros first, and so it was a bit of an uphill climb. I actually rode Skiros a majority of the time all day, even though I ran only 3 copies. I saw all 3 copies in a game most of the time. I like Thavis was hiding at the bottom of the deck. He was in the damage zone. I mean, I had a hard time getting to Thavis on that day, and so I had to struggle with Skiros. And I'll talk about why in the video now. So pretty much both games. Since I play against Black Steve, who does have next stage and whatnot, and he has the more common meta time leap build. I wasn't dealing with as many attacks. He was still doing the Melum Water and things of that nature, but without things like next stage when I'm at 4 damage and things like he had Ragnar Clock and Fate Rider and whatnot, and those cards were more manageable, easier to deal with. I can just perfect guard, move along, don't have to worry about a Chrono Jet swing at 31 or something, because he used like the crit triggers and things like that and grabbed them from Melum. It's just a different aspect of finishing off the game. It took a lot longer for him to put himself in the winning position than he would if he had next stage, just making that competitive comparison. So in the end I found it a lot easier to guard and whatnot, and I was able to win that 2-0. Just executing normal game plan, when I could get to Thavis, if not use what I had and get to Lambros, finish on Lambros. I actually won a game on Commander Thavis, was able just to just call out Adelaide, had Adelaide, had a Melania, put the effect on put Thavis' ability on Adelaide, so she swings twice, was able to hit a crit trigger, stack it on her, and go from there. Now so round 3 I played against Black Steve. Black Steve, yeah, you know him. He too owed me. He swept me. I got completely destroyed. There's no question of that. I couldn't ride Thavis. For one, I couldn't ride Thavis until game 2, but I rode him late game 2. But I mean, his first turn stride, with Metallica Phoenix, with the double G, being able to double GG. He was running the 10 crit 2 stand build. I believe that day. Yeah, he usually runs 12 crit. I think he's going back to that, but I think he was running 2. I did see a stand trigger, and I don't know how many he was running, but I think he was running at least 2. But again, he ran enough crits to just pressure me on. Metallica Phoenix first turn stride with Melum, double GG, History Maker, whatnot, just destroyed me. I wasn't really damaging triggers. I mean, overall, it was just, a lot of things went his way, a lot of things didn't go my way. And then when I felt things were going my way in game 2, again, not being on Thavis was a big issue, but, he just, what he had just trumped what I had, and he was able to beat me. And then round 4, which was the last round, I played against my boy Anton. Now, he beat me 2-1. Now, yes, at the end of the day, I was 2-2. At the end of Swiss, I was 2-2, and I will get to why. I will top 8. I'll get to why. He was playing his usual Saint Guard. He's the best Royal player in the area. Just hands down, no question about that. Pretty much game 1, game 2 went, he was able just to destroy me, like first stride Regalier, and I was behind. Then I came up. I was able to get really good pressure from first stride Commander Thavis, then finish him off with Lambros. Then game 3 pretty much came down to if I need to hit a crit, I need to hit a single trigger on my Lambros turn in order to win. If I hit one trigger, he didn't have enough to guard. He had just enough to guard it, didn't hit a trigger, as usual. You know, me and triggers don't get along, and so didn't hit a trigger, and he won. Plain simple. So in the Swiss, I was 2-2. Now, here's the reason why you shouldn't really be impressed or whatever. It was about a 14, 15 person tournament. So we ended up cutting it top 8 still per rules. I made the top 8, and in top 8, I played against Black Steve in top 8. Played him again in top 8. And this time, I 2-0'd him in top 8. Because, see, one of the things that I like to preach, guys, is that here it is. It doesn't matter how you get to top. I mean, if you get to top by, because of the numbers, I mean, sure, is one thing, whatever it is. But my thing is, it's like, look, if you go undefeated in a tournament and you're vibing well, great, perfect. If you are kind of struggling, but you just squeak in the top 8, that's fine too. As long as you make it top, because once you make it into top, it's a brand new game. It's like in the playoffs. You can go 16-0 during the regular season. You lose in the first round of the playoffs, and what? Okay, cool. So top is like a brand new tournament, guys. And so played Black Steve in top 8. I beat him 2-0. Game one was really back and forth. We were both hitting draws. I was hitting some draws early. He was hitting his heels early, but then I was able to actually pressure him. After his next stage turn, I went to my Lambros turn, and then I was able to really cripple him with my Lambros turn. Though I didn't kill him because he did hit a heel on 5 or something like that. He didn't really have enough to push me back, and I survived his last next stage turn, and then I was able to just go into Lambros and finish him off that game. And then game two really he didn't open up with Mellum. He wasn't able to get to Mellum. I was able to kill his start. I strode first. I was able to kill his starter, his TikTok, and then I really just had a lot of good attacks. I really pressured him hard, and by the time he went into his next stage, I was at 3 damage, and we were going back and forth with healing and whatnot. But after his first next stage, when I went to my Lambros turn was really effective. I was able to get out Adelaide, and I also had a Magnum Assault out. So I actually had some really good attacks. He didn't damage triggers until my Vanguard swung and hit him. But when he was pretty much at the end of that turn, he was at 5 damage with 0 cards in hand. He did top deck the ability to stride into his last next stage, but I had so much advantage from Melania drawing cards and whatnot that I was able to just guard it easily. I had literally about 13 cards in my hand by the time he strode into his next stage. I was able to just get multiple draws throughout the game from Melania, and I also did hit a few draw triggers too, and by that point, I just had out advantaged him, and I still had a Lambros ready in the wings, so I was able to win that one. And then top 4, I played against Shadow Paladins, Diablo, the player who eventually won the whole thing, and I lost 2-0. I couldn't get to Thavis. Pretty much any of my games, I couldn't get to Thavis. I had to sit on Struggle Skiros, and it just didn't really go my way. And the thing is that game 2, I was in a position where I could have put myself in a position to win the game. Because he was at 4 damage. I was on Skiros, but the thing is that I did G-Guard. I could have gone to Lambros as my first stride, dropped an Adelaide, dropped something else, and really pressured him there because he had like about 5 cards in hand or something like that. I could have really pressured and won the game during that one. With Lambros, even though I think that Commander Thavis is very, very good, and he can definitely do some good things, Lambros is still our beast, and you'd be able to feature beasts consistently, guys, and not being on Thavis really, really hurt me being able to, finish him off, so I had to go into Commander Thavis and get a less optimal play in that situation off, which allowed him to survive and proceed to, spectral me, and of course I didn't damage any triggers. I actually damaged 2 Thavis, in addition to my third, so I damaged 3 Thavis that game. But, he did, hit multiple crits on me or something like that. It was just pretty, he did sack me, but at the end of the day, I wasn't able to ride Thavas, you know, and I was not able to execute my initial game plan that I wanted to execute because I was stuck on Skiros, who really doesn't offer you much, especially in the Shadow Powder matchup. Skiros' resist skill is a killer. It forces you to call out an extra card because, you know, the resist skill is there. And, you know, when they go into Spectral Diablo, it's like, okay, well, you have to pick 2 to retire in order to guard him. Well, you know, if he strides on top of Blaster Dark Diablo, he can snipe a back row, and then, you know, he can snipe a back row. Then I have to choose 2 to retire in order to guard him, or I can just G-guard, which I didn't really have. And so, you know, it forces you to commit an extra card just so you can have a chance to guard Spectral. So I was just put in some very bad situations by being on Skiros. Even in control matchups, guys, I'm finding that, you know, being on Thavas is just so much more worth it. Even if you're open to more control, being on Thavas is just so much more worth it in a Thavas focused deck. Now, so I end up losing, and that's how I got my stuff. Now, the changes I made to the deck, I'll show you guys. That is creepy. The changes that I made to the deck, I'll show you guys in another deck profile that I'm going to do later on, probably tomorrow. Because it's, you know, pretty huge. But the inconsistency I found in the deck was now this is the deck set. It's literally almost the same build I was running from regionals when I had the 4 Adelaides and whatnot, and I found that running 4 Adelaides is very inconsistent. Now, it was consistent because I kept getting my Thavas, and sometimes I take that for granted, but recently I haven't been riding Thavas as often lately in a way. And so, you know, my thing is that yes, Commander Thavas is a great card. Yes, I can do certain things here, but there are times when it's like I want to go for the win. I want to go for the play that's going to put me in position to win the game. And Lambros is the card that's going to do that for me in that situation. But if I'm on Skiros, I cannot do that. I cannot do that because, you know, he's not Thavas. And if I have cards like Melania and I have cards like Adelaide, you know, both cards requiring a Thavas Vanguard, then, you know, that's not going to be possible. I can't drop an Adelaide on him with, you know, during a Lambros turn because I'm not on Thavas. So what I had to do, what I've done is I've taken Adelaide back down to, and I've put Magnum back up to his normal side at 4 because I wanted to make the deck, you know, more consistent in the fact that if I have to ride a backup Vanguard, then I can still go into Lambros and do other plays. You know, go into Lambros and still, you know, execute my strategies and do other plays without relying on being on Thavas all the time because, you know, again, running into those issues where you can't use Melania's skills. She just has to be a booster. You know, you can't drop Adelaide from your hand. You don't want to waste her as a 9K just vanilla. You want to use her for her ability. And, you know, I'm sitting there holding her in my hand because I'm on Skiros. You know, I can't use her. Things like that. You know, in that situation, if I had a Magnum Assault, I probably would have been able to take that game because Magnum Assault, you know, doesn't matter who his Vanguard is. You know, he does his own thing. So, you know, I've went back to 4 Magnum Assaults and it's been working a lot better, just a lot more consistent. You know, even if I have a misride and not riding Thavas, I'm still able to execute what I want to execute. That's pretty much what I want to get out to you guys, is that I needed to add more consistency. You know, it's not like we're Gear Chronicles. You know, it's not like we're Gear Chronicles where they have like a bailiff, and you know when you stride on top of it, you can counterblast one, throw them to the bottom, and put Chrono Jet as your heart. You know, it's not like we have a Thavas G like Gear Chronicles have a Thavas G. You know, so they always are going to have a Chrono Jet, meaning they're Glimmer Breath clones. Any card that says if you have a Chrono Jet Vanguard in this name, you know, any type of card like that is going to be 100% accurate in a Chrono Jet deck because there should be no way possible at all that you should ever not be. I really worded that very confusingly, but there should never be a time when you're playing Gear Chronicles and you're on grade 3 that you should not have a Chrono Jet on your Vanguard circle. Never, ever, 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 unless you're in just an unfortunate situation where you sea breeze, you have no open counterblast, you healed something, and you're on Bayleth and you strode and you can't use his ability. Other than that, you should always have a Chronojet Vanguard 100% of the time. And when Chronojet G comes out, I expect people just to run, 4 and 4, always having a Chronojet. So until we get a Thavas G, I feel like we should run a more consistent build that makes up for us misriding, and being able to actually do something on a backup Vanguard, like Skiros, rather than relying on you riding your main Vanguard Thavas and then being, and if you don't ride him, being stuck and having to just hope to God that you could just fish through your deck for him, because having the stride is just not enough. I figured that having the stride is not enough. I want to go for the win in certain situations. Lambros is better in certain situations than Commander Thavas, as is Commander Thavas is better in certain situations than Lambros, depending on the situation of the game state. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed that little thing I did at the end. I'll be bringing you guys some more content soon. I gotta get to bed and be up for class tomorrow morning. So I'll see y'all later. Aqua Life, baby, you already know. Catch me on Cardfight area. I'll probably make a video about Cardfight area because I've been getting on there a lot more often, me and the team. It's SAK in brackets. It's SAK CFK. That's my Cardfight area name, and I'll put it in the description box. So if you guys see that name, that's me. Usually I hang out either in the top section of the little main grass area or the Aqua Life water area all the way to the left side of the screen. That's where I do a lot of my playtesting with my brother and Black Steve and whatnot. So if you guys play on Cardfight area, just let me know. Hit me up on Facebook. Hit me up on the messages channel. Yeah, I'll probably try and do some live streams. If I can get XSplit and stuff working on my computer, if I'm not too busy. But yeah, when I'm bored, I'll be on Cardfight area, just play testing around and whatnot. Just want to, just so I can interact with you guys better and get some practice in. Even if it's Cardfight area, practice is practice. It's all good. All right, Cardfight King, and I'm out. Peace.